Welcome to my channel. Here's the Hyundai Tucson diesel. Here's the Hyundai Tucson diesel, and the first impressions of this car is really good, I have to say. I'm not being biased just because I like diesel cars, but I'm going to reserve my comments until later on in the video, of course. By the way, welcome to my channel. Usually what I do in this type of videos, I will live with the car for a few days. In this case, thank you very much Hyundai Malaysia for letting me drive this Tucson diesel throughout the weekend. And based on my experience of driving and living with the car for over the few days, I'm going to tell you how does the car drive. I'm going to show you around the car a bit as well. And lastly, I will always have comments about the car that I live with. I mean, every car is not perfect. If you're not a subscriber yet, if you like my type of videos, you can support me by subscribing to my channel, and I'll definitely feature more cars for you in the future. Front fascia of the car, and the key is the same as the Elantra Sport key. It actually looks really nice when the DRL is on. This is DRL, it's actually a combination DRL. Either this or this is the cornering light. I think this is the cornering light, but I'm going to overlay some footages. So this car has proximity sensors as well. If you walk close the car, see the side mirror actually fold out. If you come to the boot side, everything hands-free, although you have to wait a bit. And it reveals this space right here. You get a tonneau cover as well. It's removable. That's your spare tire. The best thing of all, you get auto close as well. So I'm going to show you guys the rear legroom. The legroom that you get is like this. This is actually in my sitting position. You can see that. Okay, my palm, yeah, it's touching, but it's enough. There's loads of it. Even put your feet like this, fairly comfortable. Oh, the only thing that I noticed, there's some wires sticking out. I don't know what is that. What model is this? The seats are actually decently comfortable. The best thing of all is you can recline the seats, and how you do that is through a lever here. So you just pull it up and you can actually recline the seats. You can actually go down quite steep. Let me just show you. Here, I'm actually holding it upright, as you can see. You can actually recline the seats to this kind of steepness. 2 cup holders in the center armrest. I didn't mention rear aircon vent. The door bins are decent enough for your drinks and some items, I guess. Not really huge, but the front door bins are huge. Just to show you guys, this part is actually plastic. Plastic, 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 plastic. Yeah, everything is hard right here. Alright, let me lock the car again. Actually, you don't need a key to access the car because it's keyless entry, but it's the type where you have to press on this button. There, the door bins in the front, it's actually wider. You can actually put more stuff here. These are your usual window controls and your mirror controls. Your central locking is here. Auto window is only available for the driver's side. Right here, you actually get a whole button for your boot lid. This is for your safety, don't touch that. This is actually to activate the front camera. And this is to adjust the luminosity of the instrument panel in case you didn't know. So how does this car drive? Let me just start the car and talk to you while I drive home. Well, first things first, notable things about this car that's worth mentioning is that it has front camera and also rear camera right up here. Rear camera is actually up here, and the only complaint that I have with that is I don't find it very convenient to have to lift my head up to look up in the rear mirror for the rear camera, and it's a bit smaller. Although it comes with guidance line, I actually prefer it to be on this screen right here. I mean, I'm used to it because it's bigger, and this AVM right here is basically a tablet. You get Waze, Google Map, those kind of thing. You just connect it to the internet. There's even a browser. So it's basically a tablet. So you actually get a 2-litre turbodiesel engine in this car that outputs 178 horsepower and 400 Nm of torque. And that is paired to a 6-speed automatic gearbox. It's a conventional automatic. Power delivery is very linear. The gearbox may jerk a bit depending on how you drive. If you are a sedate driver, then it wouldn't jerk. If you keep on wanting to accelerate, it does jerk at the first gear from standstill, but other than that, it's fine. Well, it works fairly normal. It's a 6-speed conventional automatic. The steering is actually quite direct as well. For SUV like this, is considered quite decent. It's quite sharp through the corners. It's quite ergonomic also. There's 9 entry indentations. So on the left you actually get controls for your communications and also your media, and on the right is actually controls for your cruise control, also controls for your center display in the instrument panel. And that center display has all your information like your fuel and stuff, and also settings for the car. The only thing about the steering wheel is the material that is used. In my opinion, I actually feel it's kind of cheap. I mean, you're paying 150,000 for a car and they give you this sort of leather. I don't know what kind of leather is this, but then it's not to my liking. One thing I like about this car is the seats. The seats is actually quite supportive. It's not sport seats, but you do get side bolsters at the sides. You also get lumbar support, although the lumbar support is fixed. I must say it looks quite nice as well. It doesn't look cheap apart from the material used. And coming on to sound insulation, I think it's just okay lah. It's not like it's super good till it's worth mentioning that it has good sound insulation. There's nothing much to shout about. As usual, road noise, it's quite apparent, and the engine noise is definitely going to be very obvious because it's turbo diesel, and diesel cars are not, I mean, a lot of people say are like trucks. It's actually a trade-off if you get a turbo diesel car. Yes, you do get the rattling noise, but at the end of the day, you actually get better fuel economy. Even more so if you are the type that travels outstation all the time, because you easily get 800 kilometers and above if you drive on a highway all the time. I own a few turbo diesel cars, so I know what is it like to drive one. Yes, you do get that noise, but at the end of the day, it's actually quite rewarding in terms of fuel economy and also the power that you get. And I haven't been driving this car very sedately, but the fuel economy that I get is 9.7 liters per 100 kilometer. You can actually get down to 7.x liter per 100 kilometer easily if you drive very sedately, because that's what I did on my first day of driving until I accidentally resetted the fuel consumption. And since I'm in the traffic right now, back to the engine noise part. May sound quite obvious when you're driving along the highway, but you see, in the traffic, it's really not that bad. I'll just turn down the aircon a while. You do still hear the engine rumble, but it's really faint. It doesn't really bother you. If you heard that rattling just now, I wouldn't deny that this car does need improvement in terms of its refinement, its build quality. I mean, things like hard plastic that you get right here, it's actually everywhere lah, except for this big piece of thing. This is actually soft touch. If you get a lot of hard plastics, over time, you get a lot of rattling noise when it gets loose. You know, the way you drive, especially if you drive your car hard all the time, banging here and there, it's definitely going to come loose, and you wouldn't know how the materials react to the weather, whether they will shrink or expand or whatever. You actually get these 2 lines of stitching on the 4 doors, and I don't think it's really a necessary thing. I actually hope that they did not do this, because the 2 lines isn't even straight and uniform with each other, so it actually bothers me a lot. It's like they just do it for the sake of doing it, that 2 stitching, in particular this 2 stitching. But again, this should not be a deal breaker to you for not buying this car. It's just 2 stitchings right there that, although it doesn't really look very nice, well, at least the car does seem to be driving really smoothly based on my driving style. I could see myself living with this car. You get loads of space as well in the back when I show you the boot in the beginning of the video. I really love the back seats, especially the fact that you can recline it to such gradient. In conclusion, I would actually say that this car is a very practical SUV. Considered a good choice as well, around 150,000. But really the main point of getting this car is nothing other than the engine, the turbo diesel engine. Trust me, if you drive long distance all the time, right, you might want a car like this, or I mean basically a turbo diesel. Instead of getting a pickup truck, although those are turbo diesels as well, you may want to look at more comfortable option, and there aren't really a lot of options right now apart from this Tucson diesel and also the CX-5 diesel. Okay, I must say the rattling noise might annoy some of you over the long run. Some of it is coming from the cabin itself, some of it is from the engine. The engine makes this sort of rattling noise. I don't know whether it's that normal or because this is a media car and it has been trashed, but it's only been driven for 18,000 kilometers. So those are some of my comments on how the car drives. If you are looking for an SUV that is comfortable, has good fuel economy, and also is powerful, well, this turbo diesel Tucson could be your choice. If you have any questions about this car, just comment down below and I'll reply you there. And again, if you are not subscribed to my channel, subscribe right now and I'll feature more cars for you in the future. So thank you for watching, see you soon.